there. I'm going to talk to you today about this cape that I made for my daughter. It is made by this 1995 pattern, Butterick 3084. I didn't check to see if it's available anywhere for purchase. In a way, I don't think it matters because there's nothing particularly special about this cape pattern, and I'll tell you its strengths and its weaknesses. Its strength is that it's very easy to make. Its weakness is that I wish it had an internal lining of the cape fabric, and I'll explain that when I get there. So, Butterick 3084, 3 different lengths, and it also has a skirt pattern, just a straight A-line skirt. So I started this project back about, thinking about it about a year ago, and my daughter came to me and she wanted me to make a cape for her that would be something that she could take a photograph of her and her husky in the snow to make a beautiful picture. And so she really had in mind a velvet cape with fur lining, and so we kind of started talking about it, and I started trying to put it together in my mind. Well, as you may have noticed, most fake fur is quite expensive per yard, and I'm not sure if it's the ideal lining because it would be quite heavy, and it will be also, might actually end up being too warm, plus it won't slide easily over the clothing. So I was just going around trying to figure out what I was going to buy, because basic good quality velvet is $25 a yard and up for 45 wide, and this is quite a fabric hog. And so at 45 wide, I'm not even sure how much yardage it would take, because the pattern only gives recommendations for 60 wide, and before I go purchase that, I will have to do an additional layout to figure it out. But what I ended up doing, as I was going along, I was trying to find any kind of alternate fabric item that I could, and I found at Marshall's these royal blue sofa throws, and they were on clearance for $7 a piece, and they had 3 of them. And I was figuring that I was just assuming that they were this big thick fabric and I would have to try to fudge to make it work as far as amounts. But when I started cutting them open, I found out that it's actually 2 pieces of this velvety fabric that are sewn together to make one fluffy throw. So that worked out perfectly, because it gave me the actual weight that I was looking for, and it gave me tons of fabric. So I had some left over. I made one mistake in cutting, but I had more fabric than I needed, so it was no big deal at all. So putting that aside, went around searching, trying to decide what I wanted to do for the lining of it, and I didn't find anything I loved. I like this, it's pretty, but I ended up purchasing this gray and white rose polyester satin type fabric at Joann's. And I was really just, again, looking to be price efficient, because I didn't want to pay $20 a yard for lining fabric for a muslin for an outfit. So got all those things settled down, and I got it cut out, and overall very simple to make. There are some explanations for that. For example, this part right here where the hem turns up, that's not the way it is supposed to be according to the pattern, but I had extra weight and stretch, and it turned out doing this, that which I wanted more. Now I'm going to take it off of Agatha and give you a couple of looks at some other parts of it. It's quite heavy. It weighs about 5 pounds. I found these very pretty hooks on Amazon. I think that they were 3 pairs for around $8. Oh, I didn't hook them correctly. And they're more, I guess, in a decorative thing. I don't know if they will stay hooked very well when you're actually wearing it. Let me put them up close so that you can see what they look like. This is not, I have to manhandle this thing. So those are, I think they're very attractive, and knowing that they were going to be quite heavy and the weight, or that the weight of the entire cape would be pulling on them, I wanted to make certain that they didn't pull through. So I backed them with buttons and I hand sewed them on, so that they're never coming off. And I'm going to put it on for a second and show you my one reservation and the thing I plan to do differently in the one that will be the one she wants. Okay. I will probably just hook one of these. I don't know. Maybe I'll hook them all three. I'm supposed to be focusing on keeping my voice up so that you can hear what I'm actually saying. So there's it hooked, and I think that they look pretty nice. And then you can pull the hood over, and it's nice and fluffy and wonderful, but it has a seam right here. So with a lot of working on that, that will look better. But anyway, so there's the hood, all mysterious. And what I did the hood differently than it was shown on the pattern. I cut the blue fabric 2 inches shorter, and I cut the fur 2 inches longer so that I could roll it around and have it shape the face. What I'm going to do the next time is cut the one piece shorter, the hood part shorter, cut the fur shorter, and then cut a band that will go all the way around and stitch it to the front of the fur part of the hood once I get it together. What I do not like about this cape, two things. One, it has no allowance for a pocket slit or anything to put your hands through, which is extremely weird and awkward. I'm probably going to go back, and I know how to do that, and put a little hand hole, because who wants to, what's the point of wearing a cape if every time you need to do something you can't just put your hand through a little hand hole? So I think that's odd. I would prefer, and when I make it for the final one, to put a band of the fashion fabric that comes a good 2.5, maybe 3 inches in, so you don't get any show through on the outside whenever you're walking around. I mean, it is a very pretty lining, but I don't think that's what you want to see. I think you want to see the beautiful exterior part of the cape. So it sounds like I don't like it. I like it. I think it's extremely pretty. I think it's fun. It's made for someone who is 5'8", and I'm 5'4", so it's not something that I probably would end up saying, oh, I'm just going to wear that to the opera or whatever. And it's too long for me. I probably am going to put this on Etsy under a cosplay tag, because the people that like to go to those conventions, this might be something that one of them would want to wear. So she will be, my daughter will be providing all the fabrics for the final one. We already have the fur, and I don't want to dig it out to show it. It's a pretty fur. It was a little less expensive. We got it on a clearance item at Joann's. It's very pretty and soft, and I may line the other one with the fur. Anyway, so that is my cosplay cape. I don't have a way to show it to you all the way down to the floor, but you got to see it on Agatha. And my next video, I will be talking about this dress, which is I'm going to call my fabric Tetris dress. Thank you. Have a great day and happy sewing.